I had worked at the university prior to working in the registrar's office. And as soon as I joined the registrar's office, it was one of the organizations that my office supported me attending. And I was both active with the Ohio version of AACRAO, and then within my first year or two in the office, started attending the National AACRAO Conference as well. For me, it was really an opportunity to give back to the organization, give back to the industry. I felt that I had a strong background to be able to help the organization in the way that they needed it at the time. I think that the number one accomplishment is absolutely the building. I think it was a really good marker for how strong of an organization we had become. But it also really planted a flag in the ground on the legitimacy of AACRAO as an organization. And then the most important piece is it really set us up for a strong financial future. So it essentially allowed us to fix our costs and be able to know that we were always going to have an asset that was appreciating, that gave us a lot of flexibility going forward. And so it really was kind of a turning point in what the organization was able to invest in. I think from a challenge, I think the biggest challenge that I saw being president during the first year of COVID, essentially having to operate a year where we didn't meet in person, where we had pretty significant budget issues because of COVID, and essentially had to really manage what the organization would look like if we weren't meeting in person all the time. I think the number one thing that I think is concerning is I feel like the number of similar organizations has grown. Because of that, I think we're seeing a decline in member activity and in member attendance at conferences. And I think a lot of folks are choosing to attend vendor conferences instead, so software conferences, other things. So I think we will have to look at what our business model is in a couple of years to see if we're still serving the members in the way that we have traditionally, and to decide whether or not the services that we're providing are still worthwhile. One of the people that I was probably credited more than anybody is Mike Riley, who was the executive director at the time. And so I would say that as I was growing up in the organization, I think there was an assumption that I would become president at some point, just because I was a really active leader and had a good background and things like that. But I will say that I was interested in being president at the time that I was president, and I was vice president for finance right before that. So I was interested in being in a leadership role at the time that I was in a leadership role because I got to work so closely with Mike Riley. I think it was really, more than anything, the opportunity to work with people from across the country, and to really, I think from a lesson learned, it was probably the variety of type of organizations that AACRAO serves. I think realistically, we tend to see more people from large public institutions in leadership roles, but the majority of our members are actually smaller privates, smaller community colleges. There's essentially a disconnect, I would say, between who's leading and who's being served by the organization. And I think that was a really good lesson learned of keeping an eye on who the membership was. I would describe it as number one, an incredible networking and professional development opportunity. But one of the things that I do feel like is under-recognized about AACRAO, and at times has been underutilized from AACRAO, is essentially the lobbying power, or the opportunity to really be viewed as an industry leader from a state and national regulatory standpoint. So being able to work with the Department of Education and being able to work with House and Senate on topics for the industry. I feel like we've made really, really great headway over the years in being able to be that presence. I do feel like that's, again, an opportunity where if we were partnering with more organizations or being consolidated more, it would give us an even larger presence and even stronger voice.